prediction now, I don't think that this is going to be something I ever want to buy a second time, but on the way out we found the original, and I'm like, these two, and is it Wildberry? Is that the purple one? I don't know. I'm not a big Skittles guy in general, but I just figured it's buy two for $3. That's how they get you, right? So, she has tried this one. I have not yet. She really wants to try it, so I told her not to give me her opinions, but I could tell in her face that it's probably what I'm guessing. But I'll wait to try it first, so we'll go with this one first. And I'll put this one off in the corner. And today, while I am, drinking this and, getting my thoughts on it, I also figured I would talk about my favorite TV shows. Someone asked a while back for that, and I had neglected it not neglected, the more I thought about it, the longer the list got. And actually, I do have a pretty decently long list of shows that I have watched that I enjoyed. Some of these things I'm going to say like 2 sentences about, if that. Some of them I love, but it's been so long since I've seen them, I don't really have much to say, but some I have a lot more to say, and some I've been watching more recently, so we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Alright, but right off the top, that smell, I just smelled the cap. It is insanely, do I need to shake this? It is insanely strong. Alright, 140 calories per serving size, which is 1 bottle. Allegedly 0 grams of fat, 10 milligrams of sodium, 32 grams of carbs, sugars, and 0 grams of protein. I'm just reading through some of these ingredients. I don't even know how to say some of them. I'll just go through it for the sound. Filtered water, sugar, apple juice from concentrate, natural flavors, whatever that means, L-malic acid, citric acid, pectin, I don't know, sucralose, preservative, potassium, sorbate, I don't know, sorbate, no, I'm just kidding, sodium benzoate, is that what I say? Red number 40, asulfam, potassium, I don't know, and refrigerate after opening, but we just opened this. I bought it yesterday. We bought it yesterday. Either way, we got Skittles ingrained on the side. Let's go ahead and take a sip. Oh, goodness. Definitely taste like Skittles. If you are actively seeking out like the Skittles flavor, like you're thinking about it, you definitely taste it. And the bigger the swig you taste, you do notice what I was worried about, and that is that extremely syrupy flavor. Like, it reminds me of those like frozen popsicles from your youth. Like, if you let your youth from my childhood, like I don't know why I said it like that, but like if you let it melt down a little bit and you drink the popsicle instead of eat it, and it just tastes so much more syrupy. Or like if you got a snow cone from a place and they just put way too much syrup, that's that oversaturation, that strong, thick taste, that's the vibe I'm getting. Now, it's not, I should say, it's not like it's bad, like the flavors that I'm getting, it reminds me of that, but doesn't taste nearly as bad as that, if that makes sense. But no, I was right. At least as far as this one goes, I'm not buying it again. It does taste like I'm drinking a bag of Skittles, which, will not lend well to my fight against diabetes. It does run in the family. Maybe I should be a bit more careful. But I like to think I'm, decently smart about it. I That's definitely not a conversation to get into, but it is interesting. I think it is for the best that me and my fiance share these because, you know, very sweet. I think that first sip was much better than the subsequent sips, but I don't know. Either way, that's enough of the first one for now. I'll get ready to try the tropical Skittles in a second, but I want to talk about a couple of shows. Let's see. I have a few with stars next to them, which when I wrote the list, I believe that implies that they're like my top shows. Like, to me, when I'm thinking about what my favorite shows are, I have to say it's like which one left the biggest impacts on me, which ones left, like which one do I think about, which ones do I have really fond memories with. So some of these might be a bit strange to some people, but I personally love it. Just about every show I'm going to talk about, I think. We'll just start at the top, which is the show that me and my fiance are currently, powering through, and that is Daredevil. This is Netflix Daredevil, not Born Again. We are working our way towards Born Again. We've finished Daredevil season 1 and 2 together, and we are now midway through The Defenders. We just opted out of Jessica Jones, Iron Fist, Luke Cage. Maybe that is my fault. Maybe they are hidden gems. But every time I've tried watching them in the past, I just am not nearly as invested as I am in Daredevil. So, sorry about the dogs, but that's where we are. I did like the Punisher show as well, but I don't consider that as, you don't need to watch it to enjoy the Netflix, storyline. So maybe I will give it another chance one of these days, but not yet. I really hope they get their dog under control, but either way, this is her first time watching it. It is not mine. I have watched the Daredevil show not thousands of times over, but a lot of times. I've rewatched those episodes so many times. I believe it's 39 episodes. I think it's 13 a season or something like that. I've watched it so many times. I love Daredevil. Season 1 is just iconic. Season 2 is peak, and I like season 3 a lot, but not as much as season 1 and 2. I mean, it's very good. I really like it. I think in a lot of areas they go even further than the other 2 seasons, and they really have some very impactful moments. But as a whole, I think the stakes, I think the writing, and especially the choreography in the first 2 seasons were better. Choreography was especially better in season 1. I think over time they tried to do bigger things, and I don't think it lended itself well to that. I think a lot of what made Daredevil's combat so special in the first season was that it was very tight-knit. They were one-shots. While there were a lot of flips and a lot of acrobatics, it felt intimate. It felt personal. It felt like you were there, like you were feeling him get hit. And then as the show goes on, it kind of felt like it took on the more, traditional comic book. Kind of reminded me of the way Arrow did their combat. It's fast-paced and it's epic, but it felt a lot less personal. There's a lot more people fighting. I don't know, like I said, a lot more going on, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. They escalated the story in the way that it made sense, but I enjoyed them less than when it was just Matt versus 40 guys. They're all after him, but either way, I love Daredevil. I really like the Defender show. I think it's very good. We're about halfway through now. And I like Punisher season 1. I never got to finish it because I think I joined the military before it was over, or maybe I just didn't finish it before I went to the military, and then haven't tried watching it since. I've heard second season isn't as good. I have no idea. Can't speak to that, but maybe we'll get to that. But once we finish Daredevil season 3, we are hopping into Born Again, so maybe I'll get my thoughts on that. But I haven't watched it. I've had 2 spoilers, and definitely not talking about that without, the context, but yeah, so. Let's see. I kind of mentioned it, so I might as well go over it now. Arrow and the Arrowverse is the next set of shows I want to talk about. To clarify, while Daredevil is one of my favorite shows of all time, and I do count that on that list, the Arrowverse is very fundamental to the shows that I watched because I was watching Netflix. Arrow and Daredevil. Sorry. I was watching the CW universe, the Arrowverse, and Daredevil on Netflix at that time. So all of those shows, and another show we'll talk about later, they really built up what I liked. And these are good, but all of this to say, the shows I'm about to talk about are not my favorite shows of all time, except for one, which I'll tell you. But starting off with Arrow, let's keep it simple. I'm going off on too much of a tangent, but Arrow seasons 1 through 5, I love season 1. I like 2, 3, and 4, and 5 was pretty good. But the flashback scenes, I really, really enjoyed. I think I enjoyed them more than the modern day scenes because Arrow does a lot of back and forth storytelling, which is very unique. And when they finally finish covering that gap, when they finally catch up to modern day, I feel like it was just kind of a letdown. I was like, alright, this show should have stopped now because it just feels like there's less to tell. Oh, goodness. I don't have too much to say, except for that the first season was so good. I really love rewatching the first couple seasons. But really, what really got me captivated was The Flash, and that is one of my favorite shows of all time. Specifically, season 1 through 3. Season 1 is iconic. Again, season 2 is peak, and season 3 is really good. I think I enjoy season 3 more than most people, and it legitimately makes me cry at the end. Not gonna spoil it, but at the end of season 3, I will just say something happens, and like most shows, a character dies, and I didn't see it coming. I really thought that they were gonna weasel their way out and no one was gonna die. And even as a kid, I cried. A kid, younger guy. Even now, I still tear up because it's just such good acting. I don't know what's going on outside, but it's loud as hell, so I'm assuming it's the dumpster guys. So I'll try to power through it, but either way, love The Flash. And we're already at 13 minutes, so I'll probably get through it. I did like Legends of Tomorrow as well. Kind of liked Supergirl, but very quickly lost my interest. Never watched Batwoman, but the clips I saw, I kind of liked, and it kind of, like I said, I just saw clips, I don't know, and I liked the crossovers with all those shows. I really liked the earlier seasons of Supergirl and the crossovers between The Flash and Supergirl. I liked those episodes a lot. At least I remember liking them. I love the musical episodes, believe it or not. I'm a big music guy. I grew up with that kind of stuff. So I guess it's not too surprising, but I know a lot of people didn't like those, music theater inspired episodes, but I know my fiance would love those too, so I'm excited to eventually get to show her. Didn't mean to hit you, buddies. Trying to think what else is in that universe. I never saw Black Lightning. I never saw... There's another one, right? Superman and Lois or something. I think it's Superman and Lois. I don't know. I think I saw a little bit of it, but at this point I already kind of stopped. Oh, brother. Hope that wasn't too loud, but I'm sure it was. Well, we'll go ahead and power through some more of my not least favorite. They're not bad. I do love these shows, but I don't know if I'll ever rewatch them anytime soon. And I want to save the good stuff, the stuff I really love for last. So I did enjoy watching Moon Knight and Falcon and the Winter Soldier. These are the only two Marvel Disney Plus shows that I ever watched. They're the only two, and I liked them. It just felt like they took a movie and added filler to make it a TV show. Or a miniseries, or whatever you'd want to call it. It's not my favorite. Moon Knight was really good. I loved the psychological twist of it. I do want to show my fiance that one. I think she'd like it. But moving on, Lucifer was alright. I did finish the show at a friend's recommendation. I do remember having some good CW fun with it. But, at the end of the day, probably not a show I'll rewatch. But it was good. It was good. I did like it. Let's see. I really love Supernatural. This is one of my favorite shows of all time. I realize a lot of my stuff is animated, so it'd feel weird to up around, but I'll do the animated stuff later. But Supernatural, I love it. I really love the first 4 seasons. 5 through 12 or whatever are decent. I think they have some really high highs and some really low lows. And in the last couple of seasons, they do disappoint me in a lot of ways. I do enjoy them. I think that the second to last episode is the episode to end on. I think if you watch the last episode, you will do nothing but disappoint yourself and taint your whole image of the show. I have never seen it, and I love the show. I have seen clips of what happens, and I cannot imagine any amount of context making that feel good, making that feel like it made any sense to what happened to these characters. So I'm going to live in my deluded little world where I don't need context, where it didn't even happen. So I'm okay with that. I think me and my fiance are watching them now, and I think she wants to see it. And if she wants to, I'll watch it with her. That's the kind of sacrifice you make when you're in love. But I've gone this long without saying it. So, it'll be our loss, but I really hope she's okay with not seeing it, so we'll see. I did try to watch it, and then when Dean finally gets his pie, I left it at that. I was like, oh god, I know what's happening, I'm done. But I really love that show, especially season 1. I know I say that a lot, but a lot of these shows, they really killed it in the earlier seasons, got very popular, and then just kept growing. And for some shows, they grew and they adapted to keep being popular, and some did dwindle off. I would say a lot of the Arrowverse, got a lot worse, and then I'd say a lot of them really redeemed themselves. I did watch all of Arrow. I did watch most of The Flash. I didn't watch the last 2 seasons, or last season or something. I think The Flash just got worse and worse and worse, personally. I think Arrow's last season was phenomenal. Not to go back to that, we'll keep going. But yeah, time to get to some comedies real quick. I do love Community and New Girl. I think Community is hilarious. I think New Girl is hilarious and heartwarming, and that came at a time where I really needed some heartwarming humor. They got some dark jokes, they got some weird shit, but funny, nevertheless, right? Those are 2 shows I haven't seen in quite a while, so I'd feel weird trying to remember. I remember Nick being very funny. He had some strange guest stars. I never expected to see Megan Fox around that much, but whatever. Brooklyn Nine-Nine is one of my favorite shows of all time. I love it so much. And I showed my fiance, and she loved it too. Towards the end, when they were filming during COVID, you could tell that they were filming during COVID or like close to after it, and it wasn't bad, but it wasn't, I think it lacked a lot of the humor. There was, a lot more seriousness, and they had to, right? They had to have the undertones because of everything that was going on in that year, politically, right? I feel like the show would have just been eaten alive if it tried to maintain the same level of, humor and, honestly, just kind of dimwit police force, that they were, playing. Not gonna get into that, but I really do love the show. even when you power through some of the tougher to watch moments because of that kind of stuff at the end. But again, it's been a while since I've seen it. Maybe I'm misremembering that a little bit. But what other shows do we have here? We have 2 shows, like live action shows left. Except for some later, I'm just now realizing, but I'll get to that later. One of my favorite shows of all time, and I believe I've talked about it a bit, is The Walking Dead. The Walking Dead. I love it so much. After this one, I'm going to take a sip and then get started on the next half of this video. But The Walking Dead is so good. No spoilers, but a lot of characters die in The Walking Dead. That's kind of its trope. That's kind of its thing, right? Other shows, goodness, other shows do it, but I feel like they do it a lot. And there's specifically, I think it's season 4, right? Where they really, people's contracts must have been up or something because they killed half the goddamn cast. Those 5 characters. And like in a 2-episode run, you know, like it was crazy. Like there's one episode that, you know, they're kind of building up because you know someone's gonna die, and then right after they die, the next episode, not even like halfway into it, someone gets like you're literally watching them die the whole time through like different story clips and flash forwards and flashbacks. You're watching another character die. You know, you didn't even get to really mourn the first one. It was insane. If you've seen the show, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. That damn house, you know. Get flashbacks to the governor and those 2 girls and that one, you know, redneck prick or whatever it is. The guy who's constantly chewing gum. He pissed me off. Which I guess is a good thing. They wanted us to not like him. I mean, you could tell that. But I do love The Walking Dead. I love the seasons where Rick is feral. Those are the most entertaining to watch. I feel safe watching Rick just go crazy. Rick, Glenn, they're my favorite characters. I love John Berthenol. I think he played Shane great. I'm glad that they gave him a little bit more than the comics gave him. Like he had that season and a half or whatever it was. I liked that he got that. I didn't expect him to get that. When I first watched it, I hadn't seen the comics. I knew that Shane, in the comics, spoiler alert, didn't make it past the first camp. So, and it was actually Carl that did it. So, you know, go read the comics if you want to know more about that. But I do love that they gave him a little bit more to chew, gave him a little bit more development. So, pretty cool stuff. Not going to talk too much about that because I haven't watched in a little bit. We took a little bit of a break to watch other shows. So, last up for this part is Castle. I love Nathan Fillion as an actor, and I think he is so funny in Castle. Me and my mom used to watch. Believe it, I probably shouldn't have been watching it, but it would come on. My mom was freaking good at solving like who did it before it came up, and I have so many fond memories of watching it with her and her getting it right. But also, it was very satisfying to see her get it wrong, and it just be a complete out of nowhere, out of left field surprise. It was me, her, and my grandma. I would watch it together, and then Dancing with the Stars would play or whatever, and they keep watching. Honestly, sometimes I ended up watching it to just not move from the couch, you know. But I have since gone back. While I was here in this state, I rewatched all of Castle by myself, and I have so much of a deeper appreciation for it now that I've seen the whole thing in order. They really took some risk. They really made what can only be known as a decision. Some of it, I just didn't expect it. You know, I didn't expect a lot of that. But I love Castle. I love the show. I think it's hilarious. I think Nathan Fillion's funny. The main stars hated each other or something, which is why the show ended when it did. They hated each other the whole time, and they were a love interest. So it was, you know, I'm glad it ended. No one needs a toxic work environment. And I don't know too much about who did what. I kind of don't want to know, but either way, I've also heard that Firefly is really good, but unfortunately, I've never seen it. I only heard about it, recently enough, in the last year or so. I need to go and watch it. Another Nathan Fillion show, but that is the end of the first half of this. Looks like it's gonna be a longer video. I'm gonna rate this a 4 out of 10. The 4 points it gets is because it tastes like Skittles, and it's a juice. But at the end of the day, I don't think I'll ever get it again. I don't think it was a fantastic drink. I think it's very syrupy. The score may change if I try this one and hate it. But while I crack it open, I'll go ahead and get started with the second half of this video, which is mostly animated, with one exception, because I wrote it strange and didn't realize it was there. But either way, alright, let's take a smell of this one. A sniff. What the hell? Ooh. I know I got a stuffy nose, but that smells strange. Give me 1 second. That's very... Sorry, I had to blow my nose just to try that again. I don't really know how to describe that. I don't know how to describe this. They might be the same ingredients. But without... Oh, it's blue number 1. That's the difference. Oh, goodness. 1% juice. That's the part that matters, I guess. I don't know how to describe this. I've never been good at that. Maybe like pineapple, like mango. I don't know. I got a very stuffy nose, but it's coming through in a very strange way, so I'm going to try not to judge it off the smell alone. Might be a me problem on that. The pollen bomb that hit us recently is driving me nuts, but either way, I'm going to go ahead and get started with the next half of this, and I'm just going to start with one of my favorite shows of all time, and that is Batman, the Animated Series, where Batman is voiced by Kevin Conroy. There was a follow-up series. Is it the Animated Adventures of Batman and Robin, or the New Animated Adventures of Batman and Robin? One of those. Either way, I count them as one show, and so did HBO Max back when I watched it on there. So, yeah. Now that caught me off guard. I like this. Whoa. It's like I don't know what to compare it to. It's got like undertones of flavor. Like the syrup doesn't taste nearly as aggressive. Definitely getting like pineapple flavors. That seems to be the only thing I'm able to identify there. It's a weird comparison, but it reminds me of like ocean water you could get from a Sonic, if you have any Sonics around you. It kind of reminds me of that. The more I drink of it, the less I enjoy it, but I have to say that first sip was significantly more enjoyable than any of the sips from those, and that's just my opinion. That's strange. I feel like I'm getting coconut in there as well somehow, but then again, like I said, I'm not good at identifying flavor profiles. But moving on, I love the Animated Series. I can tell you my 2 favorite episodes of all time, and that is Robin's Reckoning, Part 1 and 2, and then Old Wounds. Those are my 3 favorite episodes. The first 2 are about Robin and how he came to be, and I've seen those episodes so many times because I had it on VHS back in the day. Same with Old Wounds. I didn't have that one on VHS tape, but I love it. I saw it a lot as a kid. That one was Nightwing retelling how he, why he stopped being Robin. You could probably tell that as a kid, I had a fascination with Robin, and especially Nightwing, which has followed me into my adulthood. I love Nightwing. Those are some of my favorite episodes. I love the episode where the Batmobile gets broken down and Batman has to take it to his mechanic. I love that episode. The episode, I don't know if it happens more than once, but like a Riddler puts Batman into like a maze in a bank, something like that. I don't remember exactly that one too well, but I also had that on VHS. Those were all in one or something, I don't know. Man, that show was a part of the foundation of my childhood. The original one. I loved it so much. I love the art style. I still love going back and watching it. Batman Beyond, I also throw it in there. That comes out after. Like on the list, it's next. Anyway, but specifically those movies were so good. Mask of the Phantasm was so good from the animated series, and Batman Beyond Return of the Joker. Those are my two favorite animated Batman movies. Like, I know they also did Sub-Zero and a few other movies that I haven't seen. Pretty good stuff, though. Batman Beyond is so good. The aesthetic is crazy. The intro theme song gets me every time. It's so good. I was about to try to, sing it, but I know it would come across well for ASMR, let alone any other environment. But I do love it. I play it every now and again on a long drive just to, get rejuvenated. But yeah, I'll try to save you some time. Already 32 minutes in. Another Batman show. I think it's from 2006. It's like The Batman. I really love that interpretation of Joker. He really scared me as a kid. He's like swinging his sleeves around. He's got the long hair. He's an acrobat like crazy. I love that show. That one was coming out while I was growing up. So, felt a little different to have a Batman that, was actually on the TV and not a rerun. Not that it made a huge difference, because I still preferred the animated series, like most people do, I think. But it was cool to have another thing that was new, right? I loved that. I had like a plug-and-play game that my mom had gotten me at one point. Loved that. There was a game on a computer, like CartoonNetwork.com or whatever it was. You could play that. So I don't know too much about that one. Really what I remember from that series is the Batman vs. Dracula movie. That was a pretty good movie, I can't lie to you. But I won't get into that too much. Somehow I should have switched this around, but Justice League and Justice League United as well. Or Unlimited, not United. I'm not a fake fan, I swear. Those go with the animated series. It's part of that story as well. Not going to get too much into that, but I do love both of those shows for their own reasons. I also love when they get rid of Superman's strange ass cheekbones that he has in their original. But moving on. The Spider-Man 90s. I think it came out in the 90s, the Spider-Man cartoon. I absolutely adore that show. It's so good. That was another show that I watched while I was in my first barracks here, when I was really going through a rough spot. And it was just one of those things where I was trying anything to stay distracted. So I went and watched a show I had never seen, and I fell in love. I watched almost the entire show in the span of like 2 nights, 3 nights or something like that. After hours. After working hours. Absolutely loved it. Never got to finish it because I ended up moving barracks in the middle of watching it, and I think I let my Disney Plus lapse at that time, and I just never went back to finish it. But now that I have Disney Plus again, maybe I should give it a shot. I also felt like this was an appropriate time to talk about the Spectacular Spider-Man show. I remembered it being much longer than it was. I don't know why I remembered more about the show than what actually exists, because I went back with my fiance and rewatched it our first year together, and it's a short show. It really is. I didn't run it on the list because I completely forgot, but also Smallville. I watched quite a bit of Smallville and I really liked it. But I love the soundtrack for that one. That really influenced my playlist at that time as well. That was before me and my fiance got together. But But yeah, Spectacular Spider-Man, Smallville, all those other shows. We have 2 more animated, and then 1 live action, the one I had forgotten about in Smallville, I guess. First up, we're going to talk about Star Wars, The Clone Wars, and Star Wars, The Bad Batch. I'm talking about them both because I've only seen little bits and pieces of The Clone Wars, but I really liked everything I've seen. I want to restart it. I want to watch it from the beginning without the filler episodes, watch it all the way through. I know I can Google a playlist of the episodes to watch in order to get, enough of the story to really get past the filler. It is a child show at the end of the day. And The Bad Batch, I've seen the first season and I loved it, but I stopped because my fiance wanted to watch some Star Wars and we needed to catch her up on other stuff first. So, you can see that a lot of things happen like that. But, yeah. And then we get to, there's a third Star Wars show because I forgotten about The Bad Batch, so I threw that in there. But Star Wars Rebels. And this right here is the hill that I will die on for the rest of my life. Star Wars Rebels is easily some of my favorite Star Wars content of all time. Of all time. I'll say that right now. It is absolutely my favorite of any of the TV shows. I love it more than Clone Wars. I love it more than Bad Batch. And obviously I love it more than Resistance. Now I know that is an unusual opinion, but there are a lot of people who share it with me. And I don't want to spoil it, but Season 2 is so good. And they pretty much strip out a lot of the filler. Season 3 is really good. And the endings, oh my goodness. I don't want to spoil it, but Kanan's character, he is one of my favorite Jedi of all time. And honestly, he'll all die on again. His arc is fantastic. You see him in the first episode of Bad Batch. I don't know if you see him again in Bad Batch, but you see him as an adult in Rebels. And he really is one of the best characters. And of course, who doesn't love Freddie Prinze Jr., the guy that is voicing him, or that voices him. Yeah, I love Star Wars Rebels. I don't want to spoil anything else, but, please give it a chance if you haven't. And just get through the filler of the first season, and believe me, you will love it. Or, or your money back, but not really. But, and then, of course, the last show I have for you today is The Mandalorian, another Star Wars show. I was watching this when I was going to boot camp. I think the first 2 episodes had come out or something like that. Maybe I'm misremembering, but I loved it. And then I went. And then I didn't get to watch the rest until, the whole season was out, so that kind of worked out. It was like a time capsule, but I loved that show, man. That first season is so good. The second season is even better. It's such a good show. Who doesn't love Pedro Pascal? And then, of course, I haven't seen season 3 because at that time we had to restart to catch her up on my fiance up on some other Star Wars content. We got up to season 2, and then we had kind of been Star Wars down at that point because we watched the prequels, the originals, a few other shows, a few other movies, and then we would get to The Mandalorian. It was like, all right, oh my goodness, that was so loud. What was that? All right, moving on. That really scared me, actually. Yeah, The Mandalorian. Very good stuff. I'm gonna go and wrap this shit up before they decide to throw bricks through any windows. But this changes my score. I'm so sorry. I gotta blow my nose real quick. I'm so sorry. Alright, moving on. Well, actually, that's the end of the video. So, this score changes this one. I would say this is a 4 out of 10. Because I do enjoy it. I will never get it again. I enjoyed the first sip more. And in general, I think my opinion has changed. I think the first sip was surprisingly good. But the more that I drink of it, the more bitter it becomes, the thicker the syrupy flavor becomes. It's just not as good, I think. So this is probably a 4. And this, let me get another sip of it. I gotta say. You know, after reevaluating, I'd say this is a 5. Just in general, I think this one has a better flavor. And while it has a bitterness, it has a thickness in the syrup, it's consistent. You know, throughout the first sip all the way to the end. This one, it tasted really good, really soft. It wasn't, you know, insanely syrupy. And then the more I drink of it, you know, the worse it gets. And I can only imagine, you know, how much worse it could get with how much is left. But it sure seems like I gotta wrap this up because they're getting pretty loud out there. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. We got original Skittles at a 5 out of 10, tropical Skittles at a 4 out of 10, and I talked about some of my favorite TV shows and cartoons of all time. Let me know what you guys think down below about the shows I've talked about either of these, if you've tried them or if you're not going to try them anymore. Just let me know. Just to recap, Daredevil, The Walking Dead, The Flash, Castle, Supernatural, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Batman the Animated Series, and Spectacular Spider-Man are the ones that I start as my absolute favorites, with some others that I really love, almost as much, if not, you know, just as much, but those are the ones I chose. I don't know why I stopped at 8, but, you know, these things happen. Alright, thank you all for stopping by.